Baseball is a numbers game. Batting average, ERA, streaks of success, streaks of failure. NC State's Evan Mendoza is on a hot streak that everybody's talking about. Ken Medlin tells the story.
Evan Mendoza has been an offensive dynamo for NC State. He's hitting .380 in the midst of a 20-game hitting streak, a huge reason why the Pack has been camped out in college baseball's top 10.
This season I've really prided myself in just grinding out every day, making sure I'm doing something every day to better my baseball skills.
And talk about skills, Mendoza's success is even more impressive when you consider how rarely he saw the field last season. Used primarily as a pitcher, Mendoza had a grand total of 3 at-bats without a single hit.
He just came to me, last spring, and he started out in the rotation. And he can't, Coach, I just can't pitch it once a week. I just, he said, I want to play.
The answer was a spot in the infield. Mendoza was State's opening day starter at third base, and once he got his chance to play every day, he made the most of it.
You have to be patient in this game. Not everything's going to happen right then and there when you want it to. That's something that I think this past year has taught me.
There's an old joke in baseball that a player hitting below 200 is below the Mendoza line. That's named for Mario Mendoza, a light-hitting shortstop back in the 70s. NC State's Evan Mendoza is redefining the Mendoza line, raising the bar a lot closer to 400. Ken Medlin, WRAL Sports, Raleigh.
Baseball is a numbers game. Batting average, ERA, streaks of success, streaks of failure. NC State's Evan Mendoza is on a hot streak that everybody's talking about. Ken Medlin tells the story.
Evan Mendoza has been an offensive dynamo for NC State. He's hitting .380 in the midst of a 20-game hitting streak, a huge reason why the Pack has been camped out in college baseball's top 10.
This season I've really prided myself in just grinding out every day, making sure I'm doing something every day to better my baseball skills.
And talk about skills, Mendoza's success is even more impressive when you consider how rarely he saw the field last season. Used primarily as a pitcher, Mendoza had a grand total of 3 at-bats without a single hit.
He just came to me, last spring, and he started out in the rotation. And he can't, Coach, I just can't pitch it once a week. I just, he said, I want to play.
The answer was a spot in the infield. Mendoza was State's opening day starter at third base, and once he got his chance to play every day, he made the most of it.
You have to be patient in this game. Not everything's going to happen right then and there when you want it to. That's something that I think this past year has taught me.
There's an old joke in baseball that a player hitting below 200 is below the Mendoza line. That's named for Mario Mendoza, a light-hitting shortstop back in the 70s. NC State's Evan Mendoza is redefining the Mendoza line, raising the bar a lot closer to 400. Ken Medlin, WRAL Sports, Raleigh.
Baseball is a numbers game. Batting average, ERA, streaks of success, streaks of failure. NC State's Evan Mendoza is on a hot streak that everybody's talking about. Ken Medlin tells the story.
Evan Mendoza has been an offensive dynamo for NC State. He's hitting .380 in the midst of a 20-game hitting streak, a huge reason why the Pack has been camped out in college baseball's top 10.
This season I've really prided myself in just grinding out every day, making sure I'm doing something every day to better my baseball skills.
And talk about skills, Mendoza's success is even more impressive when you consider how rarely he saw the field last season. Used primarily as a pitcher, Mendoza had a grand total of 3 at-bats without a single hit.
He just came to me, last spring, and he started out in the rotation. And he can't, Coach, I just can't pitch it once a week. I just, he said, I want to play.
The answer was a spot in the infield. Mendoza was State's opening day starter at third base, and once he got his chance to play every day, he made the most of it.
You have to be patient in this game. Not everything's going to happen right then and there when you want it to. That's something that I think this past year has taught me.
There's an old joke in baseball that a player hitting below 200 is below the Mendoza line. That's named for Mario Mendoza, a light-hitting shortstop back in the 70s. NC State's Evan Mendoza is redefining the Mendoza line, raising the bar a lot closer to 400. Ken Medlin, WRAL Sports, Raleigh.
All is a numbers game, batting average, ERA, streaks of success, streaks of failure. NC State's Evan Mendoza is on a hot streak that everybody's talking about. Ken Medlin tells the story.
Evan Mendoza has been an offensive dynamo for NC State. He's hitting .380 in the midst of a 20-game hitting streak, a huge reason why the Pack has been camped out in college baseball's top 10.
This season I've really prided myself in just grinding out every day, making sure I'm doing something every day to better my baseball skills.
And talk about skills, Mendoza's success is even more impressive when you consider how rarely he saw the field last season. Used primarily as a pitcher, Mendoza had a grand total of 3 at-bats without a single hit.
He just came to me, last spring, and he started out in the rotation. And he can't, Coach, I just can't pitch it once a week. I just, he said, I want to play.
The answer was a spot in the infield. Mendoza was State's opening day starter at third base, and once he got his chance to play every day, he made the most of it.
You have to be patient in this game. Not everything's going to happen right then and there when you want it to. That's something that I think this past year has taught me.
There's an old joke in baseball that a player hitting below 200 is below the Mendoza line. That's named for Mario Mendoza, a light-hitting shortstop back in the 70s. NC State's Evan Mendoza is redefining the Mendoza line, raising the bar a lot closer to 400. Ken Medlin, WRAL Sports, Raleigh.
All is a numbers game, batting average, ERA, streaks of success, streaks of failure. NC State's Evan Mendoza is on a hot streak that everybody's talking about. Ken Medlin tells the story.
Evan Mendoza has been an offensive dynamo for NC State. He's hitting .380 in the midst of a 20-game hitting streak, a huge reason why the Pack has been camped out in college baseball's top 10.
This season I've really prided myself in just grinding out every day, making sure I'm doing something every day to better my baseball.
Welcome in, welcome in, welcome in. Hope everyone's having a great day or night tonight. Guys, this is episode 39 of the Mendoza Line. And as you guys know, my favorite thing to do, very first thing I like to do is move this guy over to the next number and stay as consistent for you guys as possible. Like I said, episode number 39. My name is Evan Mendoza, founder of the Mendoza Baseball Academy. I'm your host. I played 7 years of pro baseball between the St. Louis Cardinals and the San Diego Padres, and I'm here to share all that baseball education, mindset, and development knowledge with you all. So feel free to ask any questions. If this is the first time you're ever joining us on the Mendoza Line, make sure to drop a comment down below in the chat. Throw up the baseball emoji just so that way I know this is your first time inside this live. We are streaming over on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. So if you have any baseball related questions, you can always ask them on any of those platforms. These recordings will always be uploaded over to YouTube. So I think it would be beneficial for you guys to, of course, watch these over on YouTube. And at the very least, subscribe to me over on YouTube. All right, guys. Well, as you guys know, I love to do player profiles, which I have right here on my iPad, but I want to make sure that I'm also asking or answering questions that you guys actually need. So with that in mind, I had a couple of questions already, so let's kind of get right into it. So my son's a 2026 center fielder. He's got to be fast. He has 6.78, 90 exit velocity, 87 arm. Yeah, so with these metrics in mind, is that strong enough for a mid-major D1? In my opinion, yes. Exit velocity could be a little bit higher, without a doubt. And this is where, exit velocity, I don't know if that's necessarily, off the tee with a wood bat, or if that's going to be more or less from, off the tee or off front flips, off the machine, because those are going to help or hurt the exit velocity. Arm velocity, I think 87 is just fine. 6.78 is great for a center fielder, in my opinion, as long as he's able to track down those fly balls out there in center field. So yeah, in the question was, is that good for a mid-major? In my opinion, yeah, why not? It's not necessarily so much about these. These are just like the metrics, guys. Of course, performance matters as well, right? Performance is how you do basically in the game. And without the performance, these metrics, you're going to put yourself in the category of being projectable for nonstop, and I don't want that for you, because when you basically become, when you are projectable year after year after year, it's not fun, because then these college coaches never give you really an opportunity to perform. Instead, you're just more of a projectable style of player. So yeah, guys, feel free to ask any questions. We have some over on YouTube, so let's get into it. So 2027 shortstop, 702, 88 exit velocity, very similar, 83 arm strength. So as a shortstop, especially since you're 2027, so that's a junior in high school, like we want that arm velocity ideally closer to probably like 87 right now. Since we are in our junior season, since we're also a shortstop, like shortstops typically have a pretty strong arm because they make one of the longer throws on the infield. Exit velocity also, if that we can get that closer to 100 miles an hour off the tee with a wood bat, that would be ideal. 60 time, like around 7 seconds for a shortstop is just fine. It's not great. It's nothing that's gonna like make these scouts be really interested in who you are, but it's ultimately gonna be good enough to be able to play the position. Because I played shortstop in pro ball when I had like a 7.2 60 time. So don't think that like you can't play shortstop if you're not under a 7 seconds. But of course, like keep that in mind that we're always trying to get better, right? We're not trying to just like settle in where we're at. We want to make sure that we constantly have that mindset of constantly improving. So always keep that in mind, everyone. And yeah, if you have any baseball related questions, guys, that's why I do these lives every single day at 7 o'clock Eastern time, weekdays. So guys, go ahead and answer, or that way I can answer your guys' questions. Looks like I keep forgetting to create a new layer, so let's go ahead and do that right now. Every once in a while, also, what I like to do is create kind of like a this or that type of like content styles to be making this as entertaining as possible. A little bit low energy right now, guys. We woke up very, very early and did Pilates for the first time. Who has actually done Pilates in the chat? Has anyone done Pilates before? Because today was my first day doing it. It was my fiance's birthday today. And yeah, we woke up at 5 a.m. to go to a 6 a.m. Pilates. And they started yelling and everything. And it was kind of fun. The music was engaging. It was high energy. And yeah, that was my first time ever technically doing Pilates. And it was not very easy. But yeah, let's create some content topics. All right, guys. Yeah, like I said, though, if you have any baseball-related questions, feel free to ask. That's why I do these lives, everyone. My name is Evan Mendoza, 7-year pro between the Cardinals and Padres, founder of the Mendoza Baseball Academy. I went through the college recruiting process, landed a D1 scholarship to play at NC State University, even played in a World Baseball Classic since that's coming up. It's always cool to be part of that. I was with Team Columbia. Yeah, now we've helped over 200 high school baseball players through this college recruiting process. So guys, if you have any baseball related questions, feel free to ask. That's why I do these lives. But let's get into it. So my son's a 2026 shortstop. Running a 705. Is that slow for his position? Talk about positional speed. So a 705/60 for a shortstop, like typically mid-majors are going to look for probably like a 6'6" to a 6'8". That's where they would want their shortstops to be, because typically speaking, 60-yard dash is going to have a translation to more range at shortstop. But the thing is, like, if you're thinking about strictly 60 time having a direct correlation to range, that's not where it matters. In my opinion, I love doing, instead of the 60, I like doing the 5-10-5 with my students, because this is ultimately going to give us that lateral quickness more than linear quickness with the 60. The 60 is quite literally run 60 yards in a straight line. That's how simple it is. And ideally, we never really run 60 straight yards on a baseball field. So why do we do it as a part of an evaluation process? I don't understand that. But it is just part of a showcase. So you need to get good at the 60. Do I think it necessarily translates to the game of baseball? In my opinion, not really. That's just my take on it, guys. I've never coached college baseball or anything like that, so I never try to tell you guys that I have or anything like that. Like, I'm just telling you guys my experience from going through the recruiting process, and then also my time in pro ball. Guys, also, if you have any baseball related questions about like my time in pro ball or anything fun like that, feel free to ask. That's why I do these. Okay, my son's emailing coaches, but nobody's responding. Are we doing something wrong? So in my opinion, guys, if you're emailing college coaches and no one's responding, that's not necessarily the metric that we want to be shooting for. If you're sending out these emails and nothing's happening, right? That's where I want to just kind of like make sure that you guys know. Let me actually just switch this over. We'll move this to simple and simple. All right, so if you are strictly just emailing these college coaches and you're not getting any responses, this is what I want you to do. I want you to understand that a response is probably the highest leverage thing that we can receive, but it's not necessarily the highest metric that we should be tracking. In my opinion, engagement matters a lot more than response. And yes, a response is technically, again, like an engagement. It's one of the best types of engagement. It's kind of like on a social media post, comments, right? Comment is like a response to the piece of content, but a like and a share and a save, those are all great engagements of a piece of content on social media, for example. So if you're only tracking responses and that's like your success criteria on if you're reaching out to these college coaches, yes, like in my opinion, that's the mindset that you're doing something wrong. If you're taking the initiative to email college coaches, that you're not doing anything wrong there because you're putting yourself out there. It's just how we go about that process. And if we're tracking the correct things like our open rate, our click rate, our response rate, that's what's going to matter a lot more. Because think about like if you have a 0% deliverability and you send out 100 emails to 100 college coaches, that's not going to be ideal because none of the college coaches actually have the opportunity to open up the email or partially evaluate you or your player. So these are things that ultimately I want you guys to understand. Next question. We've gone to three showcases and nothing's really happened. I'm curious also like what you mean by nothing's really happened. If you've gone to showcases, hopefully you've gotten your metrics from it. If you haven't gotten your metrics from it, yes, it's a little bit of a waste of time in my opinion. If you talk about just like conversations with college coaches, don't expect these college coaches, guys, if you go to a showcase and you expect that college coaches are going to start flocking your way, you have been misled. You've been fed some terrible information, unfortunately. But like if you go to a showcase, that's not going to instantly give you the right for these college coaches to, be magnetic towards you or your player. That's not how recruiting works. You have to do it the right way. You have to also know these college coaches that are going to be in attendance. You have to communicate with them properly and then also follow up with them after the fact. And again, guys, this is kind of like the muddy work. No one likes to do it, but of course the ones that want to play college baseball are going to do these things because they understand the importance of them. Other kids in this class are already committing. Do not worry, guys. Don't worry about that because I kind of panicked around my junior year when some of my teammates were getting offers and landing commitments. Guys, those weren't to the top tier schools. So keep that in mind. Like just because other kids are committing early in their junior year, that just means that they basically want to say that they're committed so that way that weight is lifted off their back. Guys, in my opinion, like I would rather you guys wait to see what else is out there unless like it's your senior year and you just got to get going and you would rather have that commitment than, go with it. But yeah, you don't panic necessarily if you're a senior. If you are a senior, yes, like go with what makes the most sense. But understanding the timeline, especially after August 1st, like if you're getting some offers relatively early in your fall junior year, that means these college coaches were keeping their eye on you and you're probably a high level caliber talent. So that's where if you're a high caliber talent, you can almost choose where you want to go. You don't necessarily need to go wherever the first school that offers you. So don't panic in situations like that. It happens more than you know. My son's on varsity, but he hits 8th. Oh, I thought you meant he was in 8th. So he hits 8th. I mean, if he's on varsity as a freshman, guys, it's the opportunity that matters more than anything. And if you guys are really, truly like thinking about hitting 8th compared to playing JV, like guys, the opportunity to develop is so much more valuable than anything else, guys. You have to understand that. Don't think that like just because you're not playing or just because you're not batting third like you typically were in middle school and elementary school that you're gonna be gifted the same exact things. Guys, that's not how it works. When you start playing at a high level, guess what happens? you don't always hit third. It's as simple as that. So don't think that you're going to be basically that type of player always. Of course, there's going to be some players that are always constantly hitting second, third, fourth, but those are specific individuals that will get that far. Not everyone's going to do that, and it's not expected that everyone's going to be, hitting second, third. So take it more as an opportunity more than anything, especially in the overall development that you've got going on. Let's see. I'm gonna move this guy over here so that way I can see it. All right, cool. All right. His travel ball coach says he is a D1 player. All right, evaluation versus hype. So, guys, there's so many times that even when I was in pro ball, people would tell me that I'm a big leaguer. I'm a future big leaguer. And, of course, it hurts that I didn't get that opportunity to play at that big league level. Hit some injuries later in my career that definitely held me back. And I didn't really come back the same way. But yeah, if coaches are saying like, hey, yeah, he's a college level player, it's not like a guarantee that he's gonna play in college though. So like, always keep that in mind. It's like, well, it's not necessarily just what we are, where we're at, but it's also like what we're doing to get where we're trying to go, if that makes sense. Like I'm hoping that does make sense for you guys, because like you don't want to fall into the trap of like what's realistic and what's not realistic, because even that conversation, you're basically saying that playing college baseball might not necessarily be the most realistic thing. And I don't want you to have that type of mindset, because in my opinion, it's kind of like a weak mindset. Like I would much rather you have like a really strong mindset, where you're not thinking about these things. You're much rather, thinking about, oh, I'm playing college baseball. That's just like part of the journey. It is what it is. Like I'm not gonna deny that there's that stress, so to speak. All right, let's get back into it. My son works hard, but he's not getting noticed. What are you doing to get noticed? Getting noticed isn't like, hey, I'm going to go to the hitting or in the batting cage every day and I'm going to magically get noticed, or I'm going to stumble across the right person. Like, that's not how it works, guys. You have to actually do activities that help you with your exposure. If you're not doing those things that help you with the exposure, how are you expecting to get the exposure? Like, it's sometimes as simple as that. Okay, my son's a late bloomer physically. I was a late bloomer physically. I was, sophomore year, I was probably like 5'10", 135 pounds, 140 pounds, nothing super crazy. So I also hit my first ever big field home run my sophomore year of college. So just keep that in mind, guys. Yeah, I was definitely a late bloomer, especially with my bat. Yeah, my bat was always super slow to develop power, especially power. It's usually one of the tools that gets that develops last. Do college coaches actually watch recruiting videos? Yes, we have the tracking system to prove that. So college coaches will evaluate players on a couple of things. Obviously, like how professional your email is, how professional and how well edited the highlight video is. Because look, like if they can tell that the video is not edited and it's completely raw, and they open up that clip, they're not going to watch more than 2 seconds, because let's be honest, like nobody got time for that. So yeah, like they will watch recruiting videos as long as you do the right things that prepare you for that opportunity. He's quiet and not big on emailing college coaches. Tough luck. Like, someone's got to do it, and ideally, you, the parent, are not going to be the one doing that. You have to, of course, as the player, have that initiative to do those things on your own. So you have to really have that ownership in the recruiting process, because this is not anybody's responsibilities. And by the way, it's not anybody else's goals. Like, yes, your mom or your dad can have the goal for you to play college baseball, but you have to be the one to actually step in the box and actually play every single day. Yo, Evan, what's the best way to gain force production? Get into your heel. If you've never heard that before, basically it means get into your hip hinge position. Kind of think about like if you're ever trying to jump as high as you can, think dunking a baseball, Tamron. You always you always rock on your heel. Like basically this is my heel. You always rock on your heel, then you push off of your toes, right? So that's to jump as high as possible, and to be able to jump as high as possible, you have to put a lot of force downwards, right? So to gain that force production, understand how to be on your heel a little bit more. There's a really cool thing that I remember seeing when I was with the Cardinals. I went to a Cubs hitting coordinator one off season, and we got onto the force plates, and it was really, really cool. But basically I got to see on a diagram where my force was coming from as far as within my foot, and basically I was a little bit too much on my toes, and because I was on my toes, I wasn't able to generate as much power in my swing. So that was one focus that I always had throughout my career, is getting a little bit more on my heels, so that way I can have a little bit more power production. So hopefully that makes sense. 5'10", 167, Pena Brian, I'm curious what you mean. I'm 15. Okay, do you have a question, dude? All right, let's get back to some of the other questions. All right, how important are metrics like exit velocity? Pretty important in today's age, guys. Unfortunately, that's just the game that it's turning into. You need to know these velocities, your baseline metrics, your 60-yard dash time. These are all very, very, very important, because if you're ever like, let's say at an East Cobb tournament in the middle of summer in Marietta, right, Georgia, at a perfect game event, and a college coach, Kennesaw State, you pass by him at a Chipotle and you have a quick conversation, he's going to probably ask you what your baseline metrics are. You got to know these things, so that way you don't look like a fool. So that way you can also make sure that you're, answering the questions that they're ultimately asking you. If you don't know how to answer a question, like, what do you think that's going to do for your overall draft stock or your potential of playing in college? Probably not high, because you're not taking these things seriously that you need to start knowing. So start knowing them. It's as simple as that. Run your 60-yard dash. Running a 60-yard dash is quite literally running 60 yards in a straight line. It's not very difficult. And if anybody says that they can't do that, I disagree. I disagree. As simple as that. Where's my... There we go. When you hear everyone says learn to rotate and rotate efficiently, what does that mean? So the way that I think about this is because like the Olympics just finished up, and I've used this example quite a bit. You remember like seeing those like figure skaters, right? The ballerinas basically on ice. When they're doing those spins, they usually get really, really tight and bring everything together, right? Because that helps with efficiency of having a really tight spin. Now, on the flip side, if we open up everything, that's when things are going to slow down. So basically, an inefficient swing is when your hands are outside of your body and you're going super long. A super efficient swing is going to be when your hands and your arms are super tight to your body. Think like your back elbow is going right into your oblique, and the knob of your bat is basically really, really tight on your belly button. So if we have that understanding on how we could possibly go about it, think about like a Mike Trout swing. Like obviously Mike Trout is one of the more efficient hitters in the league, and that's why, of course, he's one of the better players in the entire league. But yeah, really cool to see Mike Trout like swing, because how tight he can be. Not every player is going to be that tight, by the way, but he's one of the best that does it that way. So hopefully that helps you kind of understand that, Tamaron. Great question. I appreciate you coming and stopping by. I know you've been in these lives before. I woke up at like 5 o'clock this morning, so that's why I'm a little bit low energy. I don't know if you can tell compared to other lives that I typically do around this time. We are live on Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook. And since I do have you guys, I'm going to go ahead and run a quick video about my program. We're going to go about the long one first, and then we'll go with the short video later. Just to kind of save my voice, like I said, guys, I just woke up at 5 o'clock this morning. We did Pilates for the first time. It was my fiance's birthday. That's what she wanted to do, and it actually was a lot of fun. But it definitely kicked my butt. So we're going to get into this first video. I'm going to play it right now, and then it's going to explain like who I am, what my program's all about, and if you guys have any specific questions, I'll be here on the tail end.
Do you want to see your child's potential fully realized, but you feel like the road to getting noticed by college coaches is long, you're uncertain, and expensive. Well, if that's you, this video is going to show you exactly how you can help your child turn that dream into reality without wasting time on generic programs or pricey recruiting services. I'm Evan Mendoza, and for the past 7 years, I've played professionally between the St. Louis Cardinals and San Diego Padres. I've also played D1 ball at NC State while studying aerospace engineering. But here's the thing. I didn't get there by chance. And the players that I've helped along the way didn't get there by luck either. We followed a proven system. Take Ian, for example, who boosted his exit velocity and sprint speed after just a few weeks and just recently committed to play college baseball. Or like Hugo Sagasaki, who's training all the way from Japan, has been consistently improving his performance and has colleges from the US reaching out to him. I'm sharing these stories because this isn't just about making small improvements. It's about making real, measurable progress that leads to life-changing opportunities for your child. And I want you to experience the same results. Here's the harsh truth. Most high school baseball players never get noticed by college scouts. And the reason is because they get stuck in a cycle of generic training programs that don't address their specific needs or showcase their unique talents. They spend hours at the gym or on the field hoping for a breakthrough, but the results just don't come. And worse yet, they miss critical opportunities because they don't have a roadmap to get where they want to go. It's frustrating. You've supported your child through every game, every practice, but there's no clear path to standing out from the thousands of other athletes fighting for the same college spots. Maybe you felt this too, watching your child work hard every single day and still not getting the attention from college scouts. Maybe you've been to showcases and watched other players get offers while your child was being overlooked. Or perhaps you've been feeling the pressure to make the big leap in performance before your child's senior year, but you're not sure what needs to change. It's exhausting, right? Knowing your child has the potential, but not having the right support or strategy to make that leap. The truth is, college scouts don't just want a good player. They want someone who's prepared mentally, physically, and is also educated. Someone who stands out from the rest and can prove they've got what it takes. And I get it. I have been there. I played at the highest levels alongside guys like Manny Machado, Fernando Tatis, Yadier Molina, and even Albert Pujols. And one thing that sets apart those players isn't just their talent. It's how they prepare and position themselves for success. And that's exactly what I'm here to help your child with. I've developed the Triple Play system, a 6-month program designed specifically for your high school baseball player who wants to become a college prospect. This isn't just another training program. It's a complete roadmap tailored for your child's needs and goals. It's like having a personal coach, a mentor, a college advisor, and even a scout all rolled up into one, guiding your child every step of the way. The Triple Play system breaks down into 3 core components. Their physical development. We focus on what your child needs to improve, whether it's increasing his exit velocity, refining his fielding skills, or improving his speed. Every weakness becomes a strength. His mental development. This game isn't just physical. It's mental too. We help him build the mindset and resilience needed to perform under pressure, especially when college scouts are watching. And lastly, the recruiting strategy. We'll create a personalized game plan to get your child noticed. From showcases to direct outreach, we'll ensure your child is on the radar to top colleges by the end of this program. So what does that mean for your child? It means real results. It means walking into their next showcase knowing they've made the measurable improvements. It means having a solid recruiting plan in place that pulls them in front of the right scouts at the right time. And most importantly, it means your child is no longer just another player. They're a top prospect. But beyond that, think about the pride that you'll feel when you hear your child's name called by a college coach offering a college scholarship. Imagine the look on their face when they see all their hard work finally paying off. And picture them stepping onto a college field, knowing they've earned that spot. This is more than just getting better at baseball. It's about securing your child's future, building their confidence, and creating opportunities that will shape the rest of their life. If you're ready to give your child the best shot at earning a college scholarship and becoming the player that scouts can't ignore, I'd love to talk with you personally. But here's the catch. We only work with a small number of athletes at a time because this program is highly personalized and one-on-one. That means spaces are limited. We open up just a few spots each month to parents who are serious about seeing real, measurable progress in their child's game. If you want to finally see your child stand out at showcases and attract the attention of college recruiters, then and now is the time to act. Here's what I need you to do. Scroll down to the calendar below and book a call with me today. On this call, we'll go over your child's current challenges, their specific goals, and determine if they're even a good fit for the triple play system. And remember, we've helped over 50 athletes like your child improve their game and secure interest from college coaches. So if you want to be the next parent to see your child's hard work finally pay off, don't wait. These spots fill up fast, and once they're gone, I won't be opening up new ones until the next group finishes. If you're serious about giving your child the edge that they need to compete at the next level, scroll down and book a call with me now. This is your opportunity to change the course of your child's future. I'm looking forward to helping them become the player that college coaches are excited to recruit. But remember, this program is not for everyone. It's only for athletes who are ready to commit to making real progress and achieving real results. So if that's you and your child, book the call now, and I look forward to speaking with you soon. Are you the parent of a high school baseball player dreaming of playing at the college level?
All right, we're back. All right, guys, if you have any baseball-related questions, feel free to ask. Little bit drained today, guys. Woke up at 5 o'clock in the morning to do Pilates with my fiance for her birthday for the very first time. But guys, if you have any specific questions on where you're currently at in the whole college recruiting process with a player profile, which is what I like to do right here with some key metrics, key information, guys, go ahead and share those here today. There were a couple of questions that I got over the little bit of a break. Hopefully you guys like that video. It explains, of course, the Triple Play program, which is my program inside my remote training program. We're spending a lot, and he still feels lost. So ideally, the simple approach that you need to understand is really I would say two-step process. Step number one is to develop. Step number two, three-step process. Have the right mindset to develop and to play college baseball. Believe it or not, you have to have a good mindset to be able to play college baseball. Number three, focus on recruiting. Guys, if you focus on recruiting number one, it's probably where this question is even coming from, is like you're feeling lost. Typically speaking, parents will tell me that because they feel lost in the whole college recruiting process with all the noise that's out there. So that is probably where that question came from. But guys, you need to understand, like, it doesn't matter how good you think your son is, he could always use number one. After number one, let's say your son throws 93 miles an hour. He runs a 6.5 second 60. He has an exit velocity of 100 miles an hour. If your son doesn't have any of those, number one's going to be your best friend. Develop, right? Physically develop, get bigger, stronger, and faster, and make sure that what we're doing in the gym is also helping translating over to the field. Now, number two, guys, I've seen it time and time again, players that have a weak mindset, they don't make it far in this game because you have to have a competitive mindset. You have to have that dog mentality of going, because it's not easy to play college baseball. I'm not here to lie to you guys. So having that mindset is really important before we even touch recruiting. And again, this question probably originated from, hey, basically I feel lost in the recruiting process, and typically that's saying that the parent is feeling lost, because there are a lot of avenues. There's definitely, and especially with, I think the question said you're spending a lot already. So let's talk about what you guys could be potentially spending money on, because I think that's an important conversation that we could have just so you guys understand a couple of things. So let's just say you go to we're going to do baseball expenses. All right, you guys ready for this? All right, so 1 hour lessons per week, roughly around, let's just call it $80, because I know in like West Palm Beach the average is 100, but that's a higher income city. Typically speaking, that's going to be what is that, $320 per month. $320, that's $3,840 per year if you go to a hitting coach every single day. Right? let's say like 2 showcases a year. Let's just say each showcase is like $1,000, so that's another $2,000 per year. Maybe 1 camp. That's usually around like a good $500 for like 2 days. But we'll just say per year because you might just go to 1 camp every single year. What else we got? We got like equipment. That's probably gonna run you between batting gloves, cleats, all that stuff. Maybe an extra $1,500 on equipment. Oh, the good ones, recruiting services, because you guys think a profile is gonna help. Guys, I've heard it so many times from different families. You guys invest into like NCSA, field level, and you were expecting the world, and they didn't help you because they gave you just a huge database. If you think that's gonna help you, good luck. But ultimately, I've heard NCSA and these recruiting services are like $5,000 per year, which is crazy. And again, they literally just give you like access to a spreadsheet and they said good luck. More or less a spreadsheet. It might be a fancy looking spreadsheet, but a spreadsheet nonetheless. So that's on the recruiting side. Gym membership. So that's going to be probably, let's just call it $100 a year or $100 a month, give or take. Could be less. 100 if it's less than 100. So let's just say 1,000 a month or 1,000 a year. So it's a little bit less than, that's probably like $80 a month. Maybe a personal trainer. And that's usually around like $500 a month sometimes. So that's going to run you, if it was 1,000 a month, that'd be 12,000. So that's an extra like $6,000 per year. It's wild. When we add up all these things, I don't really want to do it because I don't really want to spend brain power on this, but basically 12,000 right here. 12,000 plus 2, that's 14,000. 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20K per year playing baseball. Isn't it kind of crazy? Be honest. Do college coaches prefer fully paying students rather than financial aid or scholarship players? Baseball is money. No, that's what I'm going over right now. Of course, like there are a lot of players, and there was a question that was asked over on YouTube. I am streaming on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. By the way, all these are uploaded after the fact. But do college coaches prefer? So in my opinion, like I did financial aid on top of baseball scholarship. So let's just break it down because it's going to be easier, right? So there's a couple of different routes. Like we got over here, we've got just financial aid. And believe it or not, financial aid could be a loophole for these college coaches to get a player basically a discounted amount to be able to get them on the team and kind of have them walk on, right? So that's like the $1 amount tier for these college coaches. This is all based off of the coaches, like you mentioned in your question, coaches' perspective. All right, so just keep that in mind. Stacking athletic with academic. So this is where, again, from the coach's perspective, they still have to put out some on the athletic side. So I would say like it's 2, right? If you get like 100% full scholarship, which there are more scholarship opportunities with the whole NCAA rules and landscape shifting. If it's just athletic, and if you're able to get like 100%, things like that, from the coach's perspective, that's a big investment for a specific player. Now on the flip side, the family's perspective, this is where ideally that could be a huge, or let's just say 1, right? This could be 1 and this could be 1, because ultimately out of pocket it could be similar. Maybe the only thing that you have to pay is for housing or whatever the case may be. Maybe housing and books, and that's ideally it. If you're on a full athletic scholarship, like yes, some of these things would be taken care of, but from the family's perspective, these things shift. So from the coach's perspective, they don't necessarily if they're doing financial aid or scholarship, not necessarily, they're not viewing it as that, because what they really care about on the flip side is what kind of player is it? Are they able to help them win games? That's like the ultimate goal at the college level, of course. I bet they even take bribes and payments from travel ball academy owners. I don't necessarily think that. Wait, I'm curious on what makes you think that. I would love for you to hear, like, elaborate on that. I don't know exactly what you mean by that. So with, I think it's important to kind of like backtrack a little bit, because I do want to hear a little bit more what you mean about that. Because if we really think about it, these college coaches, they get paid a salary, right, to win games. So if we think about this, like you called it, like travel ball owners and bribes with money, right, to get basically a player over here committed to here, or a player onto the team, does it help them win games? Does that player help them win games, or does that player help them lose games, right? Because if they're putting money to these coaches' salaries, technically, but these coaches' salaries, it doesn't matter how much money it is, they lose ball games, guess what happens to the coaches' salaries? They lose their job, right? Scouts and DR have been caught getting kickbacks. Sure, it happens here too. The money incentives are always there. I mean, possibly getting so scouts getting kickbacks are a little bit different if we're talking about the professional level, because like there's technically like a finder's fee for talent for individuals that get drafted by these affiliated organizations. Of course, that's how they make their money, is like these. So there's area scouts. There's regional cross checkers. There's national cross checkers. There's scouting directors, and then typically there's like a GM. Usually that's like the ladder, so to speak. So like this area scout, if they bring it to that person and they check it off, they bring, or the regional cross checker brings it to the national cross checker, checks off here, checks off here, checks off, gets drafted first round for $7 million. There's going to be a small percentage kickback to that finder fee, right? He can ride the bench all year, be honest. Sure, it happens. He can ride the bench all year. Oh yeah, of course he can ride the bench, yeah. But when we're thinking about building out a depth chart at the college level, like, again, I've never been a college coach, but I probably would not be bringing people on that don't provide value in any way whatsoever, because that's a spot that I could have someone providing value to the team. And there's multiple different ways to provide that value. There's, for example, we had a walk-on player that was throwing 97 miles an hour that pitched 7 or 8 innings, and he provided value honestly by throwing extremely hard, but also being so inaccurate that it was actually his like superpower. He was all over the place, but because of that, he had the ability to actually get people like guessing and almost more passive. And then, of course, right after that, our manager at NC State could bring in a guy that threw a lot of strikes and completely just like shift the passiveness of the opponent hitters, basically. So there's like values in things that are just beyond, of course, what we're looking at. The hint is the kid that goes to every $1,500 showcase is a so-so player. Coaches love to make money too, dude. Think. Yeah, I mean, your mindset's very money heavy. I'm not sure exactly why that is. Joel Verrez, 78. I mean, at the end of the day, like, good players will help you play at the next level. So I don't know if you're a parent, if you're a coach, if you're still playing. I'm not entirely sure. But yeah, I don't like talking money this much. It kind of just seems off. And usually it kind of comes from a perspective of like, usually just from taking hundreds of calls with families, it kind of just groups myself into the thinking of a typical conversation about politics, right? And I don't like talking about politics because it's just like, it could be there, it might not be there, but ultimately, like, does that benefit you? Does that serve you at all by talking about politics or complaining about politics or complaining about money or this or that? So that's not where I'm in that same mindset. It's like, okay, well, if those are all true or if those are all false, what can we do about it to ultimately get past it and move on and provide value for ourselves and doing something that will help us get developed? So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and quickly run a quick video just to provide some value to you guys as far as if you guys are interested in working one-on-one with me and what those next steps would look like.
Real quick, if you have a son in 10th, 11th, or 12th grade who wants to play college baseball, listen up. At the Mendoza Baseball Academy, I built a triple play with the physical development, mental toughness, and a recruiting system that gets players noticed. And it's 100% remote, so no missed school, no wasted travel, just real results from home while your son works one-on-one with me. Click the link below to learn more and book a call with either myself or a team member today. Real quick, if you have a son in...
All right. Getting back to a couple of other questions that I had over on YouTube. So when should we start recruiting? Great question. And I like to always talk about the timeline of being a high school baseball player. So let's go ahead and do that here together. Basically between 9th and 12th grade, this is when recruiting will start. Either you're starting to have those conversations or you're actively in the middle of recruiting. So there's a couple of dates that are important. Really, there's only one, but it's right here in this halfway point, August 1st. I'm going to share with you guys what the importance of that is here in a second. But either way, let's kind of walk through this. So 9th grade, in my opinion, is when, if I was a high school baseball player, again, after playing 7 years of pro ball, 3 years at the D1 level, landing multiple college offers from D1 schools, and actually getting to choose where I wanted to play college baseball, guys, it's all about getting things into motion around that 9th grade season. We want to make sure that we're building out like routines, and we want to have ideally some level of structure, especially into the gym. We should know how to bench press. We should know how to, do the core movements, right? We don't necessarily have to be super baseball specific, but again, if we are baseball specific at an earlier age, that's only going to help with our overall development long term. So we have to have that mindset shift to be able to move in that direction. Now, 10th grade, in my opinion, this is where, with this motion right here, what happens is we build a foundation, and that's the foundation that we've created from 9th grade. But now what we're doing here is we're quite literally building a wall upwards, and we're trying to build the tallest building in the city. And the best way to build the tallest building in the city is to build that strong foundation. Again, 9th grade season, we build that strong foundation. Now it's go time to really basically keep growing on our abilities. In 9th grade, typically 9th grade is when we're like having fun with the game of baseball still, and this is usually the shift that a lot of families will tell me on calls, because ultimately, their son was just having a lot of fun. They were just in middle school a couple of years ago, and then 9th grade season hits and they were on varsity. The coach is really loving him, and they're thinking about college already. And that's where I want you guys to understand the recruiting process for that type of individual. Maybe they're on varsity as a freshman, will start a little bit around 9th grade season. For me personally, I remember having communication with the Naval Academy coach because they were local at near the high school that I went to my freshman year of high school. But ultimately, the recruiting process is going to start for certain people earlier than later. It just depends on talent and other factors. But either way, so we're at this stage, 10th grade. We've built this wall. Now that wall has quite literally turned into what I like to call an ice cube. So basically, this is ice, right? And as you guys know, with like ice sculptures, there's usually a sculpture in here. I'm going to draw just a dotted line because we're chipping away, and ultimately refining that structure day over day, week over week, month over month, until we have that very, very fundamental piece of ice that's let's just call it unbreakable, right? I know ice is breakable. But this is who we are, right? Inside, and this is who we are as far as a baseball product, right? Because if we're training the right way, we're gonna have a playing profile ultimately, and in that playing profile, we might be more of a power hitting first baseman. We might be a speedy center fielder. We might be a catcher. We might be a PO. We might be a shortstop, right? the playing profile is going to dictate that. And ideally, around this stage, we should know what our positions are. We should have a primary position, and we should have an idea of what we're going to be in college. Personally, for me, all throughout, like right here, I personally thought I was going to be a pitcher in college. And even I got recruited to play at NC State as a two-way player. My freshman year, I pitched. It didn't go as planned. I threw like 18 innings. I started the season as the Saturday starter. For those that don't know, that's basically number 2 in the whole rotation. So I felt pretty happy with that. But my second start, I did not do well. So basically, anyway, we're in 11th grade year. I'm going to hit August 1st here in a second. Don't worry, guys. But basically, after that piece of ice, this is where some families will unfortunately hit that panic button. And they're going to press that. Maybe the first school that contacts them, they're going to auto commit, basically, meaning I don't even care what the university is, what division level. I just want my son to get committed so that way we can get past all of this stress, because it is very stressful if you are still uncommitted by 12th grade season. Now, August 1st, this is when college coaches can contact you. Ideally, I'm talking about the player, right? Now, before August 1st, this is where we, again, player, can contact the coaches, but the coaches cannot email or technically contact you to start the conversation. So we need to understand the importance of August 1st. We can start the conversation, but until after August 1st, that's when they can start the conversation. Hopefully you guys understand the importance of that, because it is very critical. You know how that works. So just keep that in mind with everything that you've got going on, guys, because it can be very confusing, and I don't want you guys to miss out on any opportunities, especially in the whole college recruiting game. So again, August 1st is kind of like that midterm exam. As you can see, it's halfway through, basically in between 10th and 11th grade. August 1st, it's of your junior year. So basically before August 1st, before basically the high school semester starts, that is when these college coaches can start communicating with you or your son. So just keep these things in mind, guys, because these dates can creep up on you if you are not, if you are careful, you'll be good to go, because you're in this mindset of being proactive rather than reactive, and a lot of people are reactive to August 1st. Unfortunately, I speak to a lot of juniors and seniors, unfortunately, that have not sent out a single email, and I think that, in my opinion, is a little bit pathetic. Like, if you really want to play if you really want to play college baseball and you're a high school baseball player, I'm not saying this to the parents, by the way. Like, parents typically will know that you should be doing something, but it's on the son's responsibility. It's on the player's responsibility to actually take the initiative to email these college coaches. It's not on the parents. So, and by the way, guys, if this is the first time that you're ever joining in to the Mendoza Line, usually I have a lot more energy, but I woke up at like 5 o'clock in the morning to go to Pilates with my fiance, and had a lot of fun with that. It was the first time I ever went to Pilates. It honestly kicked my butt. A lot of fun though. But what I'm going to go ahead and do, guys, is wrap things up. I hope you guys enjoyed today's episode. If you do have any baseball related questions, feel free to join in every weekday. Yes, we're going to be live tomorrow as well on Friday at 7 p.m. Eastern time. So come stop by. Make sure to subscribe to me over on YouTube. If you are on Instagram, make sure to head over to my YouTube channel. That's where the recordings will be always uploaded. I made it super easy. There should be that highlight on my Instagram profile for the YouTube channel. Should take you right over there, so that way you can subscribe, watch some of my YouTube content, and as always, if you guys are interested in working one-on-one with me, you can always click the link in my bio on Instagram, or click the link down below in the description if you are on YouTube to learn how to work one-on-one with me. Take care, guys.
He became more confident after talking to you every time. You are always there when he needs. I think it's really important to know or be told from someone professional like you.
Which was a completely new experience for us. I think we were skeptical. We dove into some of the content. We realized how good it was and the quality of it. The way that you kind of worked with him and you set expectations for him, like, hey, these are the things I'm expecting from you, and that was a big part of why we enjoyed the program as well.
The program has made me like a little eagerness to go out and do something and not just like wait for the team practice and do things on my own.
As his dad, I can tell him till I'm blue in the face that this needs to be done. And sometimes it doesn't resonate coming from the dad. Sometimes it needs to come from a pro ball player.
Through your program, I just realized like how much more I could learn. You can just feel the improvement over the course like of 4 or 5 months, like you said. With you being able to supply me with this type of structure, I'm able to just learn for myself and learn how to improve by myself, which makes me feel a lot better as well as a lot more accomplished in the end.
I definitely recommend joining it. It's awesome. The community's great. Having you there to support you is incredible, and overall love the program.
You get the full structure. You get your lifting, you get your arm velocity, you get your mechanics, you get your hitting, and the hands-on approach from you.
Infield velo was 68 or something like that. It was not good. My 60-yard dash was 7.7, which is not good. And I was not very mobile. I wasn't very strong. I mean, I'm a big kid, but a lot of it was just like from my size. My infield velo now is 80, and my 60-yard dash is 7.0.
It's insane. What was the root cause for all that?
I mean, it was just staying consistent with the program. I think just I had to really stay on, like focus on the path that I was trying to get. You know what I'm saying? I was trying to become elite. I was trying to get better. I know the stats at the time. I was like, oh yeah, that's not that bad. But going back and looking, that's not where I should be to play at the next level. Staying consistent with the program really helped me through that time.
I feel like now I'm really dialed into what I'm doing. So when I do it, it's just like this before, like you talked about earlier, like it's just coming in naturally.
That felt good. I mean, it gave me my confidence shot up. I think you should join in. You do a really good job of replying back to messages, and you're really fast to help out other people with like coaching and their swings. You're a pretty good coach.
Hitting improved, touching improved, velocity went up, speed went up, everything in general went up. Before joining, I tracked my 60 time, and I was running a 8.22, and then after a while, I did a showcase, and then I ran a 7.08.
What do you think the leading cause for that? That's crazy jump.
Probably mobility and probably the exercises that you have in your academy that allow for growth in those little tiny muscles that people forget about.
I could tell I was hitting the ball a little bit harder, and then it got better and better and better, and then my speed picked up with the sprinting training and all that, and I was just getting a lot better. But before that, it was not super good. I've definitely picked up on my hitting velo. Before I joined the program, my velo was 72 off the bat, and at this showcase, I hit 80.
That's insane, dude.
No, so when I first saw your program, you were talking about how to get to college and how to get D1 and get recruited and all this, and that had me super interested because I'm trying to go D1 and everything, try to get a scholarship and all this, and your program definitely talks about it and helps you walk through it and get you started. Honestly, I would say like the program definitely helped me a lot. Helped me work through some things, get my visualization for games and all that, just get me prepared.
Obviously, like my program's remote. Like, have you had any trouble by doing the work that I provide you?
Not at all. It's right in front of you. So it's super easy to get. Search it up, find it, and start working.
Can give him guidance, and he can always ask questions to you. I could see how he became more confident after talking to you every time. You are always there when he needs. I think it's really important to know or be told from someone professional like you.
It was a completely new experience for us. I think we were skeptical. We dove into some of the content. We realized how good it was and the quality of it. The way that you kind of worked with him and you set expectations for him. And like, hey, these are the things I'm expecting from you, and that was a big part of why we enjoyed the program as well.
The program has made me like a little eagerness to go out and do something and not just like wait for the team practice and do things on my own.
As his dad, I can tell him till I'm blue in the face that this needs to be done. And sometimes it doesn't resonate coming from the dad. Sometimes it needs to come from a pro ball player.
Through your program, I just realized like how much more I could learn. You can just feel the improvement over the course like of 4 or 5 months, like you said. With you being able to supply me with this type of structure, I'm able to just learn for myself and learn how to improve by myself, which makes me feel a lot better as well as a lot more accomplished in the end.
I definitely recommend joining it. It's awesome. The community's great. Having you there to support you is incredible, and overall love the program.
You get the full structure. You get your lifting, you get your arm velocity, you get your mechanics, you get your hitting, and the hands-on approach from you.
Infield velo was 68 or something like that. It was not good. My 60-yard dash was 7.7, which is not good. And I was not very mobile. I wasn't very strong. I mean, I'm a big kid, but a lot of it was just like from my size. My infield velo now is 80, and my 60-yard dash is 7.0.
It's insane. What was the root cause for all that?
I mean, it was just staying consistent